Hi, I'm Erik Linask, coming to you from the TMC Net newsroom. We are live in San Jose, California this week, and I'm talking with Steve Pazol. He's the president at nPhase. Steve, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
So you do a lot in the M2M market. Give me an update on where the M2M space is right now.
Okay. Well, nPhase is a joint venture between Qualcomm and Verizon Wireless, and we're really focused on enabling product companies that want to bring their products to market and doing it through our carrier partners like Verizon and Vodafone. We've seen a lot of activity in the smart grid space. We've seen pretty good activity in the mobile health space, a lot in the telematics, consumer telematics. Every car manufacturer is coming out with their own OnStar. So it's really kind of across the board, across SIC codes, really happening everywhere.
Are there any particular implementations or use cases or products that you're seeing sort of more attraction from?
We're seeing a lot in the kiosk space. If you think about digital signage or Redbox or Best Buy kiosks, really everywhere, the ability to manage that inventory, control that inventory, see what's happening, basically bring new content down to it, all those types of things, and especially because those kiosks are in other people's premises and you can't run a wired, you really can't wire the connection. So we're seeing a lot of activity. The market itself is probably not huge, but a lot of activity. That market's happening now pretty well.
As far as the technology is concerned, what is driving the space?
Well, so what's driving the space, a big piece, you're seeing it from two different sides. From the adopter side, you have a lot of product companies that have basically really been commoditized. And so for them to differentiate, a lot of them are moving to a service model. Service could be consumables or spare parts or expert services or warranty. So by connecting to the product, they're able to deliver a differentiated service and hopefully a recurring transaction with the customer, a recurring relationship with the customer. From the mobile operator side, basically the handset market's saturated. It's over 100%. And so carriers are looking for new markets to be able to sell subscriptions into. And by putting connectivity, cellular connectivity in particular, in things, it's a wide open market, a market that doesn't change cell phone plans on a regular basis or try to shop for the new phone. So even if the revenues, the ARPUs are a little bit lower, the product goes on, and it really is a long-term relationship with the carrier's customers.
When it comes to actually implementing M2M and bringing some of these products to market, are there particular security concerns that have to be addressed?
Yeah, well, it depends on the vertical. So if you think about smart grid, there's a lot of security concerns. It's been relatively public in the Wall Street Journal and in a lot of the trade press about making sure that our infrastructure is protected. In some cases, maybe if you have an ebook reader, it's a little bit less important. If you're thinking about a medical device or something that really is controlling, chemicals or a power plant or something like that, yeah, security is very important. And there's really a lot of one of the nice things about M2M is it does rest on existing standards. So things like IP and the encryption and SSL, these types of things. There's a lot of tools built in to do it, and because the carriers are really protecting their network for the cell phones and for the smartphones, a lot of we get to inherit a lot of those capabilities. But it is a pretty important topic.
How big of a factor is location and location-based services?
I think location's huge. Even location for devices that don't move. Because if you have a thing that doesn't move, you typically have maybe a service technician going to service that device. And a lot of times they don't know where it is. Or, and if you think about mobility and people trying to track things, definitely maybe you tracked the truck 5 years ago and maybe you tracked the pallet 2 years ago. You might be tracking the box on the pallet that holds the prescription or holds the pharmaceutical. And so location is very, very important. And that's both in the enterprise markets as well as the consumer marketplace.
So when it comes to tracking, asset tracking like that, then you really need to ensure that you've got the proper security in place.
Yeah, you need security from multiple aspects. One, many of the applications are security applications, right? Is the truck getting hijacked? Is it going off the route? If you look in Latin America and some of the other countries, Mexico, Brazil, security is actually probably the primary reason for telematics because of carjackings, because of stolen payloads and everything else. So that's kind of the application of it into security. And then making sure that you secure it, you secure the data, secure who gets access to the data. I mean, all those things, you know, are very important, especially as this becomes more and more critical and kind of part of the connected world. Security is really a prime piece of that.
Excellent. Well, Steve, it's going to be enjoyable watching all these use cases roll out. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, I appreciate it.